The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs or position of SwagAbility, its board members, sponsors, or affiliates. Some content in this episode discusses topics such as drug use and addiction, which may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. 9 out of 10 people say they want to change, but fewer.
It's these conversations that keep me going. There's nothing like talking about growing.
How does that look like going from, a private mindset, because a lot of us get there, to a public movement?
I mean, I was the only child, single white mom. She worked doubles as a server.
Speaking truth is the best form of love.
Dang, he worked hard. He embraced his story.
9 out of 10 people say they want to change, but fewer than 1 in 10 will ever follow through. Hakeem, born McFarland, is obsessed with that gap and what it takes to close it for good. Friends, welcome back to the SwagAbility Show, where we help you thrive wherever life finds you. I'm excited to have my guest today, who turned hardship into a framework of real growth. He's the creator of Choose Yourself movement, a message that's changing people, and I've got him joining me today. Hakeem, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join the little show called SwagAbility.
Yeah, man, my pleasure. It's these conversations that keep me going. There's nothing like talking about growing and embracing who you are.
Appreciate it so much. I'm a big one when it comes to telling my story or asking people about their story. We always kind of start at where things began, but I'd like to kind of push in a little further if I can. And can we talk maybe a little bit about, you grew up in Bloomington, Minnesota. What kind of kid were you growing up in Bloomington before you've got to this movement and a lot of stuff that's happened since? Can you take us back to who that kid was?
Yeah, I mean, I was the only child, single white mom. She worked doubles as a server. Sometimes I was raised by extended family, teammates. I found sports. I was the best at every sport. So I got respect from teammates' parents, other coaches. They always made sure I was good because I bring the wins to the record. So I was taken care of by my people and my family, and I was always smart, but I was also a smart ass, and I had a big mouth because at home, there wasn't a lot of discipline. There was a lot of support, a lot of love. My mom didn't speak bad about me. She would always punish me when necessary, but I was more of a prankster class clown. I wasn't a thief. I wasn't violent. I was more of a jokester class clown, jock athlete. And that's what started first 10 years of my life was me and my mom, Mama D, who's the star of my book. And then when I was 10, my little brother was born.
You had a D1 football path. And for those of us here in Canada that don't know a lot about stateside football, we know it's a big deal. Can you kind of tell us about the D1 ride and how things kind of took a turn there and what that did to life for you?
Yeah. I mean, at the time when I got the full ride, sports was my mask. That was my sanctuary. That was my church. So I could bury the grief. The resentment and the anger was to go score touchdowns, go dunk the ball, go hit home runs, go hang out with people, get some girls, go party. That was my thing. Now, I didn't party until I went to college, when I left my hometown of a place where I had an integrity loop because I told people, I don't drink, I'm an athlete, I'm going to the NFL. I've been saying that since I was 12 years old. And now I have people around me watching me. Oh, he's at the party. Is he going to drink? Oh, he's at the party. Is he going to drink? Then when you leave that environment and you get around a new environment where everybody around you never heard you say that, and they don't care about what you think you're going because everybody here is of that status, sometimes you crack. So I started drinking in college. And that's when that released a lot of the stuff that was pent up inside me. And so the outside started matching the inside, the anger, resentment, the fear, the ego. I started projecting it onto my team, onto my teammates at North Dakota State University. Went down there June 9th. I graduated high school on June 7th, prepared to go all summer and play as a true freshman. But by the time I got to the end of the summer, I hated that damn school. I didn't like my players. I was fighting the teammates, the coaches. It was all kind of hazing, whatever type of people are raised on the farm. I don't like to throw around race, but people had their own discrimination tactics when you're out there. And that's still something very prevalent in the world. But as long as we can accept it and stop blaming, that's when the healing comes. And so I left that school and went and played, still hadn't played one snap. I went to Division II, Winona State in southern Minnesota, still on a scholarship. Finally got to play, finally was getting praised, finally was the best on the team. First play, first game, ACL, broke, first injury ever. So I was out for that season. Then I got the red shirt, and I had 4 more knee surgeries. Then I went too far into the party scene, got into some criminal issues, got into a fight, got kicked out of that school. So now I went from D1 full ride to 5 knee surgeries, no ride, at home, no school, no team, no nothing, just recovery for a whole year. And that was my first year of college experience.
Yeah, not the dream that every athlete goes off there saying goodbye to everyone. Dream packed in this backpack and having it kind of explode. You talked about, losing a younger brother, and how did that loss kind of reshape your outlook?
Yeah, that was when I was 16. So that was before the full ride. Now, and that's what was buried before I started drinking and getting around other environments. All that stuff came out, but I was able to hide it from age 16 to 18 in high school because I had expectations of my teammates and coaches and people in my class of, okay, he still has to be the best dude in the school. I have to keep being the best dude in the school. So I had my previous reputation, my need to please others, my need to be there for my teammates, my need to catch touchdowns, my need to lead my team to victory. That was allowing me to mask the grief. And this is what I say. When you go through something, when I say get over it, get after it, that's the slogan. That doesn't mean hide it, neglect it, abandon it. That means sit with it, process, talk to somebody, read something, cry it out, reflect, and then get over it. To get over it is to process it. Don't just get over it, because that's what I did. When I was 16, my mom called me. My little brother was born when I was 10. He had cancer and short gut syndrome. First one ever in the world with both. I didn't know what was happening. He's supposed to die at 1, supposed to die at 2, at 3, at 4. So by the time the 4th time, I'm like, he's not going to die. These people don't know what the hell they're talking about. So by the time I changed that belief of die, then I started changing my time management. I'm like, well, he's always going to be here. So now I started focusing more on sports and not being there as much. So that part of going to school and then practice, in the hospital, and then home. My mom lived in the hospital, so nobody was at home. And then school, and then practice, and hospital, home. That was my life. 16, from 13 to 16. I take the train down there, take the train back, go to 11, wake up about 5. And that was what I did. Once I found out he was going to die, I went down to the hospital, said the last words. I was the one that pulled the plug. I didn't pull it physically, but I was like, yep, we're all ready to go. Wrap it up. And that day, I went into the van and played a basketball game. Same day he died. So that was how I was like, to prove I was fine, because I'm the man of the house. My mom I already had to grow up into a man when my mom decided to live in the hospital from age 13 to 16, which I don't want her anywhere else. She's the most powerful woman I know. I saw her go from my mom to a damn surgeon, warrior, queen in the blink of an eye for her cubs. Put all her addictions down, put all her issues down, and stepped up like she should have been. And that pulling on and putting that sports on was how I skipped over the grief part. Everybody asks, how you doing? I'm good. I'm fine. Don't you see me? I'm in the paper. How you doing? Well, don't you see me? I'm doing fine. And that's where I lost him. So 16, 18 was when I really took off in sports, because that was how I stayed. I was practicing. If I wasn't practicing, I was in the gym. I was just always working, running from the shit. And then I started drinking, and then I started knocking on that safe. Every drink was a crack. And I got in a fight and anger. Then it overflowed into my sober life, because I already released the emotions under the influence. So I masked it with sports, and then I tried to numb it with substances. And that combo is what got me down into 5 knee surgeries, 2 scholarships gone, living back in my mom's.
I think maybe you disagree with me. I think that's where a lot of men, I think we struggle, is with the issue of thinking we've got it under control. I mean, weakness is not bred into us, pride, those kind of things. I think it's one of the biggest lies I think a man can tell himself, is that we've got everything under control, because I don't believe it's right for anyone. We've all got our issues. I was thinking about what you're talking to me there for a minute. What did accountability look like 19 and pre-19? Because I know for me, I meet with older men, I keep appointments with them, and just to have me within guardrails. But at 19 and things like that, what did accountability look like for Hakeem?
There was none. I mean, the reason I got kicked out of school is because I punched a white boy when I was on crutches for the ACL. So they kicked me out. Then I became a felon, first-degree assault, 20 years over my head at age 19. So now I'm blaming the judge, the doctors, my coaches, racism, anything but to blame myself for anger, resentment, and grief. Anything. Blame everybody. Everybody wrong. My mom, my dad wasn't there. My dad was an addict. I got a felony. Now I can't do this, and my knees. And now ain't nobody coming to save your ass. And it took me 12 years of that. I even went back to school and was All-American and got a degree, and then broke my ankle again and had to go back into my dark place to then find out that no one's coming. I even masked it again. I sat out for a year, went back to school for 4 more years, graduated, got my degree. Yeah, it looks all good. But then when I broke my ankle, when the math is gone, when the sports are gone, then what comes next? You still got to sit with that shit from 7 years ago. It took all that time for me to sit down in solitude. I did 8 months. Then I got out for 30 days, did 8 more months. In that second stint of 8 months, that 8 days of solitude, went through withdrawals, blame, complain, victim's mentality. And then the 4th day was accountability. And that's when the choose yourself process was born. And what I did in the month following that solitude and that forced solitude is what I now call the choose yourself process.
You took the words out of my mouth because I was coming up to that. So is it at that same time that adversity doesn't define you, your choices do? Is that when that became a reality for you? Right around.
Yeah, it was in that cell, man. And it was just something switched. I was like, well, touchdowns are gone. My health is gone. I'm addicted. Reminded me of my dad. My dad ain't answering. My girl left me in jail. My boys ain't here. What? Ain't no money on my books. The only person answering is my mom. And she's like, I wish I could help you, but I'm broke too. And so now I'm like, damn, ain't nobody coming. You better freaking do something. You better choose yourself. And so our first thing I did was 25 push-ups every 15 minutes for the last 4 days. Because I've realized if you focus on what are you going to do to put yourself in the present? Because if your mind wanders, you're going to give yourself anxiety and depression. What can you do with your time right now? You can meditate, fast, journal, prayer, stretch, exercise, cold shower. All that will put you in the moment right now. But if you skip that all the time, you're in a consumption loop. That's why the systems you do leading up to adversity are the ones we lean back into after we're going through grief, pain, any transition, any new life. It's what you do on the days where it's 75 and sunny that allow you to stay dry in the rain because you can't repair your roof in the rain. And so that's called the foundation, which is the 3rd step of the choose yourself process. But that is exactly what it was when I stopped blaming people and I started choosing myself. And once I stopped blaming people, my relationships changed.
How does that look like going from, a private mindset, because a lot of us get there, to a public movement? Did it start to get played out in public in the prison system, or like when did it go from something that Hakeem's embraced, this is what's keeping him going, and then all of a sudden this private mindset turns into what I call a public movement? Can you pin that anywhere, or just can't?
Man, no, I really can't. I could tell it though. It's freaking like when I reflect, when I moved to New York City, I'd say was when I really was like, all right, bet this is going to turn to a movement. But I didn't move here till 2021. My darkest days was 2016. I went sober part of 2016 to 2018. So that's when it started. And then for 3 years, it was just me changing everything. And I had no idea I was going to be turning it into a social movement, but I had been doing content since 2008 when they had Facebook videos. I was rapping, telling jokes. I was always online. I was in front of the camera when I was younger. I was always lead singer. That was always me, the speaker. That's why they told me to sit down in class. I'm like, I'm not a sit downer. That's why you don't listen to your teachers, y'all. I mean, listen to them if you have to, but if you like to draw, just be careful where you draw. Stop drawing on the wall. Don't stop drawing completely. Okay. Do what your gift is, But when I had to pull myself out of the dark place, I evaluated my environment. So I started changing what I consume. Not just what I eat, what I watch, what I smell, what I listen to, the thoughts of myself, the news, who I follow on my feed, who I'm following online. I started changing all that. Went from rap music to podcasts, went from doom scrolling to video games to books. And I started changing those things instead of letting time pass by. So I used to stay out and I would bartend, but I was sober because I was still bartending this whole time. So I'd be out, sleep until at 3, wake up at, 12 p.m. I get home by 3, sleep at 4, wake up at 12. And then I partnered with my uncle, who has a liquor company. He's like, yo, you've been doing good. You want to do sales for my liquor company. So then I became a liquor rep. So I went from drinking spirits to selling spirits to now uplifting spirits. So I've always been spiritual. I just depend on what form it's in. But now I'm trying to figure out how to wake up at 8 and get on the road by 9. And I've been waking up at 1 p.m. for years. I'm like, how can I do this? So a couple techniques. I would press the snooze, get up, go work out, come back, take a nap. The other one I'd keep the window open in the winter so that it'd be so cold I wasn't comfortable. And I'd get up, shut the window, get back in till I'm warm. And then the one that worked the most was to press play on a YouTube video, have it queued up on my phone. When the alarm went off, I'd open my phone, press play, sit there and let this shit play right next to my video. And it'd be David Goggins, Andrew Tate, Denzel Washington, Will Smith. And they would say something out loud that would trigger me to be like, I ain't no bitch. And I would get up and I'd do the whole day. And I said, how did that video of a guy who's not even in my ear, who's on the phone, how did that get me to stop hitting the snooze and playing the victim and not getting up on time? I want to be that for people. So I switched my content to online motivational. the thing about that is I wasn't embodying who I was. I'd be motivational Monday to Thursday, and then I would party Friday to Sunday. So now I'm doing the balance that I perfected in college. During the season, dedicated to my team, discipline, not drinking, practice, class. Off season, party, no class, no work. I did that balance all the way in my recovery. Mask, numb, mask, numb. So now when I came out of my 18 months and I got this opportunity, now I'm out here getting back into drinking. But I looked at it differently because I was also driving and I had gotten a D-Dub before, and it was my uncle's company. So it was my family. I didn't want to ruin it. So I was doing responsibly. We're just like, okay, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now I'm just a weekend warrior, which is way better than every day, which was what I was doing before I got locked up. But when I would say, stop wasting your time, get up on time, finish your day, during the week, I'd be struggling to do those things myself. And when I set them online, my integrity would be shook during the week. So I realized when I say it, I'm creating an integrity loop of accountability, of public accountability when I speak it online. And then over the years, I started waking up earlier. I started finishing my workout. I started going to every single market, every single task, instead of going home early because I got this girl on the way, or going home early so I can watch the game, or going home. My priorities changed over time. And so about a year and a half later, I was top sales in the company, blew up as a top freaking brand in the state, which allowed me to move to New York City. And that was a choice where I was like, okay, do I want to stay out till 3 or wake up at 3? So I started waking up at 4:30 a.m. when I moved here. And that was just the shift that I needed to really shift from, oh, party Saturday only and go home Sunday was like what I was in before. Going from every day to just Saturday was the transition, but I still got them old environments. And then the move to New York was like, cut that shit out. And I locked in.
During that time, did you, I mean, we're all born with a conscience when you're living the 5-day straight and the 2-day, off the rails type thing. Conscience pushing back against you, or just a Monday rolls around and being like, man, that sucked. I don't want to do that again. Were you fighting conscience even when you're, over that weekend time when you're not in that lane? Or
well, I would just embrace it as a weekend warrior. So until the urges and cravings went away during the week, I would accept it as weekend warrior. So it's a small transition from every day to I don't do it till Friday. Now I'm locked in till Friday, but I know it's coming Friday, so I can lock in. I don't be like, you can get discouraged and be like, hey, I quit smoking today. I quit nicotine. I quit sugar. Fine. Or you could say, I'm not doing it in the morning. Which one would be more easier to do? And then be like, hey, I'm only an afternoon sugar eater. I only eat sugar after my last meal. Then you own that shit until that becomes easy. Then you make another switch. So say, I'm not snoozing on Mondays anymore. Snooze every other day. Fine. Once Monday gets easy, you wake up before you snooze, you add another day.
Who inspired you to put your story into a book?
Goggins, man. I read his book and I was on a damn bike for 2 hours. I meant to be on there for 20 minutes. I was listening to his book. I biked like freaking 60 miles on the bike. I'm like, what the hell? He ran on broken legs with shit down his legs and he lost 300 pounds and sparing for ruptures. His dad used to beat him. Oh, I could be on the bike. And all of a sudden I'm so into the book, how open he was, how much I put him on, like, this dude's freaking amazing. And I read his book. I was like, dang, he worked hard. He embraced his story. And now he's able to move with more authenticity. He don't give a damn about nobody because he already told his story to millions and he lives what he says. So I knew through addiction, sobriety, grief, athletics, recovery, justice system, injury. These are all topics that people go through. Sometimes not all of them, or sometimes to an extent they go through every one. They might not know they lost their dog. That's a form of grief. It may not be a little brother, but it's still grief. You might have a back issue from a car accident. That's not 5 knee surgeries, broken ankle, 2 torn labums, broken finger, but it's still an injury you have to get through. So it's like making these parts of my story applicable to anyone was the intent of the story, and then putting systems behind every phase of recovery.
For my new listeners and whoever, hearing this for the first time, what are the core pillars that are behind Choose Yourself, the Choose Yourself process?
Yeah. Choose Yourself process. You get to your turning point where you make that choice. We just had a dude with cerebral palsy as a special guest on the CYC accountability Zoom we do every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And we have a special guest like 1 to twice a month. And he was talking about he made a choice to stop being negative and he just followed up with that choice. And that was how he revisits his day every day. So I made a choice. We all get to that point. Sometimes you get to it from a loss of health, loss of time, loss of family. Sometimes you get it from being inspired from a book or a retreat or an event. Sometimes you get to it by having a new girlfriend or a new baby or a new job. Sometimes, but at some point you're like, all right, I'm locking in. Whatever that is, that's the point. Now, the next phase is evaluating your environment. You got turning point. Step 2 is environment evaluation. Step 3 is foundation. Step 4 is self-investment. Step 5 is creation and contribution.
Yeah, that's rich. I mean, you could park there on any one of those subjects for months. Yeah, amen. And who shows up? Like, again, for those that may hear this for the first time, a lot of my listeners are people that are facing, trauma, veterans coming back, trying to settle into civic life, people with disabilities. Sometimes there's a victim mentality, and our whole goal at SwagAbility is you can thrive wherever life finds you, and that's our desire. But for someone listening to this first time, who shows up to your weekly community sessions, and what would they find there?
Well, what you find is a place for connection and support in a mindset that we all desire to have, which is authenticity and balance. We all speak about the foundation, which is your nighttime routine, sleep, morning routine without people, screens, or toxins. That's the basis of it. We all have one. It might be 10 minutes for some. Mine can be 12 hours. Sometimes mine can be 7 hours. It depends on my day. But I'm the foundation king. I'm going to be flexible. I'm going to do foundation on vacation, after a funeral, after I win a lottery, doesn't matter. I'm still going to do my foundation. And that's what I really believe is no matter how good or bad your life gets, can you still do the things you said you would do in solitude? I don't care about the rain, weather, who died, nothing. You got to do what you said. That's how you embrace authenticity. That's how you pour from an overflow into others. So we talk about embracing your story as power, even the pain and the grief. We talk about routine, time management around your sleep. There's 6 pillars to the foundation. Then we talk about mindful consumption, what you watch, what you're listening to, who you follow, when you scroll, the conversations you're having, what you're saying to yourself, evaluate your environment, physical, mental, and digital. And then we talk about balance, because I also have a liquor company and I like to go out. Now, it's the contrast that allows it enjoyable to be able to eat that cake on your birthday, because you didn't eat it every day. It's a contrast that allows you to binge watch Love Island on Sundays because you didn't rush home and stay up late every night to watch Love Island, somebody else and bullshit that was created. You made time for it, for you to be mindless, and you did it on purpose. It's still intention. So we talk about that even on our retreats. I just hosted a retreat in Costa Rica, and on the last 2 days, it was all you can eat, all you can drink. Do you still lock into your foundation? That's the point. There's temptation around. There's a beach. There's a boat, catamaran, shots, liquor, beer. Are you going to still get up and get after it? I did. A lot of people didn't. But that's what shows I do this over time. And it doesn't matter how my mindset is or what the weather is or how hungover I am. I'm going to do the foundation that's already engraved in me. And that's what I want to show people. So it's those things, man. Your story, your gift, and your passion. And we take that and develop your purpose and turn it into a business. But you can't develop your gift and your passion if you're consuming BS and you're full of toxins. So we got to break free. We do challenges. You also can't embrace your gift. You can't embrace passion if you don't make time for you to tap into your passion, which is in the foundation. Your passion is in the foundation. Your story is embraced in the community. And then your gift surfaces from the unbecoming and not the seeking. And that's the gift we then package into some type of compartment, whether it be online or offline, and we turn it to a business.
People know from my previous podcasts, I'm a follower, a believer in personal relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ as my Savior. You're preaching stuff that's coming like straight from the Bible. May I, if you allow me to press in a little bit, but were you raised with a faith background? And if not, or if so, do you today have a belief system in a higher power, God?
This is God's message. I am just a disciple of discipline. I'm put the vessel to put it on display. I'm the one to mess it up sometimes and bounce back. I'm the one. I'll speak it at the rooftop because I'm resilient enough to mess up, fall off, and come back and own it and then get back to it like nothing happened. That's why I've been, Yeah. See? And for a while, I had this belief. Who would kill a 6-year-old? I'm like, if God, everything happens for a reason. My mom said it all the time growing up. I'm like, what? The parking spot, the green light, the dollar bill? I'm like, yep, she's right about everything. Everything does happen for a reason. And at first, I was trying to find someone to blame. And then God was one of them. My dad, the doctors, the judge, freaking met Big Pharma. I still don't like Big Pharma. I'm not taking any pills, but, that's besides the point. When I was alone in that cell is when I read a book, The Secret, about the law of attraction. And it talks about how we identify what we believe. So you have to change your belief to then identify opportunity. You got to be what God said you could be to identify his mission. You got to choose yourself to be chosen. You got to release all the programming, societal, the dang constructs to then be the version that you were born right from the vagina to the nipple. That version, whatever was in your life then, is what we're trying to find. But we get distracted by seeking possessions, achievements, looks, money, status, titles. We forget what we was created to do. The gift. Where's the gift? Buried under seeking money. Buried under staying up late and working for somebody else. Buried under freaking going following some well-off thing that you believe is supposed to lead you to delight, you know? And so, my God, I believe whatever religions are trying to connect people to, that's what I'm connected to. Whatever Jesus was searching for, that's what I'm connected to. Whatever the stars align for all you astrologists, that's what I'm connected to. Whatever the natives look through the land to connect to, that's what I'm connected to. Now, I may not need religion. I connect to God through my intuition and awareness and my actions.
I think religion is what kills people. It lays a burden on you. It's a must-dos. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. That ain't the God I serve. I wasn't the Jesus I know. He came to get rid of this religion. All the Pharisees said, you got to keep this rule, that rule. Now he was going for the heart, right? What your people thought. I'll keep you a lot. It's a lot of fun, but a couple questions, if you will. How do you rebuild trust after breaking a promise to yourself? A lot of people may be listening, like they take 2 steps forward, 3 steps forward, try and get their life back on track, and then break a promise to themselves. How do you rebuild that trust? Just getting back after it.
You make the commitment so small you can't mess it up. You don't create a river on a rock by one drop. I mean, make it so small. No more phones in bed. Can you do that? So small where I'm going to wake up, brush my teeth, and write down 3 things I'm grateful for. Make it so small to where the first thing in the morning or around your sleep, because we're in theta brainwave, which is the most programmable state. 7-year-olds are in it their whole life until they're 7, and then it starts to change into alpha and beta and gamma. But I just had a theta brainwave healing specialist on the podcast, and she was a special guest in the CYC. And the most programmable state is right before you fall asleep and when you wake up. So if you want to reprogram, you make your commitments around that time, not only because of your brainwaves, but typically nobody's watching. So who else are you doing it for? If your goal is to wake up on time, nobody's going to wake you up. If your goal is to brush your teeth for 2 minutes, get you a timer, do it the whole 2 minutes, and do what you said. Small amount. Nobody's holding your hand. You can't even, I'm doing this because my kids are watching. I'm doing this because the boss is watching. I'm doing this because ain't nobody watching but your inner child, your subconscious, and your creator. So make those commitments. A small one around your sleep. Stretch 5 minutes. Meditate for 2. Clean the dang, water the plants. I don't care what you do, but put it right between your bed and your phone. Make that commitment small. It'll work.
You said that authenticity vibrates higher than love. What's that mean in practice?
Yeah, that means the person that you believe you are in private is the person you will attract in public. If you don't stick to your word, if you're practicing gluttony, if you're talking nasty about people, if you got an unhealthy crib, if your gut is dirty, if your mind is playing games, if you're consuming porn, video games, and gambling all the time, well, you go out here in this other stimulus. We think about if we're trying to stay stimulated in solitude because we don't like silence, we don't like accountability, we don't like action, we don't like growth, we don't like uncomfortability of stretching, of meditating, of journaling, because we always have to go check our email and check our text. Okay, well, guess what you're going to pay attention to when you get outside? It's not going to be your intention. It's going to be your emotion. Put it down to the basic thing. If we only focus on what we want to do, staying in late, eating BS in the morning, drinking coffee right away, turning on the TV, turning on news. These are all things that we want to do. You know you need to do something else. Your intention is not in alignment with those choices. So then when we get into the world and you get in traffic and you get into your job and you get into your kid's life, now when the emotions surface, you choose your emotion again because that's what you did around your sleep. We choose intention now because authenticity is the purest form of love from yourself to yourself. You only get authenticity when you give love to yourself by doing what you said you would do and practicing delayed gratification. That's how you vibrate love. That's how it vibrates higher, because then you're vibrating from love, which overflows into someone else, but also inspires and exemplifies love. So you have 3 interactions of love: you to an overflow, and you inspiration. Now you can go out and be like, I'm going to freaking skip my morning routine and go pick up my kids because I love them. Who's benefiting from that? Just them. Just them. You already neglected your ability to add time on the end of your life, your ability to increase your health span so you can be here longer and pick your kids up for longer by sleeping in, staying up late and bullshitting until you had to pick them up. Put the phone down, prioritize your sleep, mindful consumption, embrace your story, and set the foundation.
I've never been to one of your teaching sessions. I mean, or retreats. you must face, I mean, because truth is truth. It cuts right through the heart of man. We know it. But not everybody, I mean, everyone wants to say authenticity. I'm authentic. I'm who I am. I'm authentic. But when you come at it as you do, and it is truth, because it's the best form of love you can. Speaking truth is the best form of love. I'm trying to preach to you, you know what it is. But when you get someone at a retreat or someone online that's pushing back, do you get individuals that be like, you know what, you take your program and, or I was gonna say, because not everyone is ready to accept that message. It's truth, and that's the beauty of it. But that we live in a society that, I mean, truth is, they want subjective. They don't want objective. They want subjective. So I guess that's more of a applauding you for being who you are. And I would see a lot of people. I guess I'm drawn from a pastor, as coming from a pastor myself. I'm just like, I can't imagine the arrows I'd have through my back. But I guess broad shoulders for people who want to lead, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to come with it. When God wanted David to be king, he didn't just give him a crown, he gave him Goliath. Now, Goliath can be found in the silence. It's the fear, self-doubt, and lack of guidance. That's how you're going to be king. You got to beat yourself. I don't care how you write it. Muhammad, Allah, Moses, the leaders, they were by themselves. Isolation, solitude, pain, faith, then gift. That's the process. Find you something to worship. Find you something to text. Find something to prayer. Find something to dedicate to. Find a way to contribute. These are all the underlying factors from our religions. That's the truth. You just got to find a way to evolve and contribute. I don't care how you do it. Now, the thing about, my dad's super religion, super Christian, and he's been running a sober community for 18 years. And when I first started telling him about choose yourself, he's like, oh, you got to choose Jesus Christ. I'm like, Jesus chose himself. What are you saying? It's what I'm saying to do. Jesus did to find God. He didn't listen to other people. He didn't go against God's word. He didn't get caught up in the consumption loop. He didn't blame other people. He really lived that true, peaceful, forgiving life, but he had to go through scrutiny, and he had to go through isolation and prayer and faith and something he couldn't even see. Now, when my dad at first started saying these things, I didn't know what to say, but I knew I wasn't going to be believing in what he believes in. So we just kind of left it at that. But as I went deeper in what it means to choose yourself, I got deeper to the root of what it means to believe. It's a belief system, and if Jesus was made in the image of God, then Jesus definitely chose himself. Because if we're supposed to live in the image of God and we're supposed to be self-sufficient and focus on self-mastery, evolution, gift, and purpose, then he has to do that then. And if his evolution and contribution and purpose is to create a great world, a beautiful world for the human race, well, that's what the hell we got to do. How are we supposed to be like God if we can't choose us who was created by God? You're not going to respect his creation? What if somebody had an art piece and you just shit it on the wall? I don't give a fuck about his art. Well, hello. We got to choose ourselves to show our faith. And you can pray all you want, but ain't nothing going to happen without action. And people do lash back, but usually online. By the time they read my book, by the time they join the C, yeah, they got those. By the time you get to my retreat, by the time you get in the call, by the time you book a call, you usually understand what I'm talking about. Because I have enough content, enough podcasts that's free, that where either you can just comment and then shut up, or be like, damn, let me tap in and pay. Once you pay, I understand something triggered you, because my content comes from a whole system, an ecosystem. It's going to be the truth no matter where you hear it from. The book, the podcast, the retreat, the accountability one-on-one is going to be the same shit. I'm not switching it for nobody, because this is me talking to an old version of me, which is why it makes me an expert.
Maybe last one. I appreciate so much your patience with how do you balance strength and vulnerability?
Yeah, that's like I said earlier in my story, being vulnerable is not okay. Especially when I saw my mom crying after losing one kid. I couldn't be crying and have her crying over me. And who gonna stop crying? Me. I'm gonna stop crying first. Although that is the norm that was presented on us. And now we got men being too damn soft. Be crying about every damn thing. Okay, so now we got to find this balance. Now, how do you balance it? Is you put systems in place, which is your consumption, your foundation, your balance before the adversity, to increase your emotional intelligence. So you know what's vulnerability and what is dramatic. If everything seems like, oh my God, I had such a bad day at work and I'm being vulnerable. I wish I had more money. That's not being, as a man, you ain't got hormones or PMS. Shut your ass. Vulnerability is accountability for men. I messed up. Not hiding I messed up. Vulnerability is, oh, this hurts. this hurts. This hurts deep. I can't believe they did that. I was wrong. My ego hurts. But then you have to get back to the strength. Vulnerability is fine if you don't allow it. You walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You don't pitch a tent. You walk through it, have your community, have your systems, have your freaking relapse day, if you can handle it, and then get over it the next day. Now, that doesn't mean it can't impact you moving forward, but the strength leading up to the situation of vulnerability is then what we're building back up to. So it should be a downswing to vulnerable, or it could be a cliff, but then it's a gradual incline back to strength. So also give yourself some grace. But you got to speak. You got to speak. You got to write it, speak it to somebody, a friend, a hotline, write it down on a piece of paper, like, especially men. That's what you need to do. Journaling really changed my life. Writing my book changed my life. Speaking online, even though it's just my phone, changed my life. Speak it, because then it becomes reality into the universe. And then you're forced to either believe it or change your beliefs.
That's when all this change and authenticity, vulnerability, strength for you, is that just for life here, or do you believe there's an afterlife because of how you do life here?
Yeah, I believe a little bit in everything, man. And we go back into the earth. Our spirits go on. Our conscious never ages. I do know the body is a vessel. I believe that. I don't think when the vessel dies, we die. That'd be asinine, I think, in my opinion. But there are people who think that, and their life is probably different than mine, because I have faith in something greater and the ability to impact the world. That's what I believe. Just from little old me. That's what I believe, because of the spiritual connection and the signs I've gotten from my creator in this time. The feedback, the opportunities, the criticism, the scrutiny, the departure, the detachment, the discernment, all those things where I'm like, why did this happen? Oh, something better. I know already. Keep the faith is how you're able to embrace vulnerability and strength as well. But what it is after life, I had a dude on my podcast, and he talks to people who have died and came back, and he also talks to the other side, two people as a medium, and they for sure believe there's not the end of the world. I mean, end of your body is the end of your life. They for sure believe it. They talk about, they went over there, they all saw a bunch of white people pushing you back into your body and then wake up. Multiple people said this. There's a documentary online too. So like, there's that component. You seen that one?
Yeah, there's a lot of near-death experiences and
stuff like that. So who am I? I don't really know. I never had one. My dad did though. My dad died twice, and he said that he didn't see no white people, but he had a hallucination that didn't really happen.
I think we're born, the Bible tells us we're born with eternity in our hearts. We know we're eternal. I think we suppress the truth. Romans talks about that. Suppress the truth and unrighteousness. To the listener that's hearing all this and it's resonating big time with them, first thing, what's the first thing they can do to stack a win today and start the road? And then as we close out, where can people that are going to hear this, where can we get a hold of your book? I didn't get a chance to push that, but I want to respect your time. But I'll give you that chance after this. A win that someone can stack today. They're listening to this. They've had a spinal cord injury. They've just been diagnosed with cancer. They're coming back disabled from war. They're a caregiver that's been caring for someone trapped in a loveless that position. What does stacking a win maybe look like for today and starting the road to where no more excuses and living with authenticity? I'll let you finish that out.
Skip the snooze. Skip the snooze button. Are you going to choose yourself or snooze yourself? Now, we can all do it. This is why it's important to skip the snooze. First of all, we sleep in 90-minute cycles. You think you're going to get 90 minutes worth of sleep in 10 minutes. You're messing up all your sleep. That's why you're more tired. Second of all, before you went to sleep, you had an intention. This where it goes back to choosing intention over emotion. When you were feeling like, oh, I'm going to wake up tomorrow on time. My intention is to wake up at 6. Between your bedtime and that alarm, sleep, comfort, excuses, darkness, coziness. Now that's your emotional state. It's not what you said when you went to sleep. Now you got your environment, low lights, the fan, your bed, creating an emotion of comfort, and I want to stay in. This is the battle, the very first thing. You set your alarm, nobody was watching. It's time to wake up, nobody's watching. What you gonna do? Your subconscious is watching. You chose 6. Get up at 6. Now, if you got to set an alarm for 5:30, 5:45, 6 in the beginning, fine. But give yourself a cutoff time. Don't just let it dwindle into your day. Skip the snooze button and get up on time, because that's your first commitment to the day. And that's the first act of choosing intention. over emotion. And that's what I say, man. I haven't hit the snooze. Now, there's a difference between like, oh, I'm going to sleep in and have a slow morning. I'm not setting the alarm. Fine, do it. If you're not messing up your morning routine and skipping all kinds of things, fine. Have one of those a day on the weekend, whatever. But when you say you're going to get up and you know you have to get up on time, otherwise you're going to be late. Otherwise, you're not going to make it to work out. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to clean your crib or do your laundry. You need to get up on time. That's a very small win is to skip the snooze. And then, if I hit the snooze, why am I so tired? Am I sick? How do I reevaluate what's going on? Because I never hit the snooze. Now you got your little signifier for you.
Hakeem Bourne McFarlane, friends, where can we get your material? You've got a book out there. You've got course. You've got some retreats and things. We'll obviously have them in the show notes, but let us know where we can get your material. What's your next passion project you're heading towards? And how can people jump on the plan that Hakeem has not just for himself, but helped multitudes of people?
Yeah, well, if you're done dealing with your own BS, we can create that structure for you to embrace who you are. You go to chooseyourself.info. That'll take you to all my information. My social is Big Dream Hakeem, and the big dream is to help you live yours. But it's just Big Dream Hakeem. My book is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It's called Choose Yourself to Be Chosen. It's a workbook to GY. That's Grow Your Mind with Inner Size. I'll be speaking in St. Louis event. This is all on my link and social media. St. Louis event, November 15th. I'll be in North Carolina, December 4th, Yonkers, December 6th. And then I'm also hosting Poetry Slam the first week of every month, starting February at the Apollo in Harlem. So come on with it. Come on with it. Tap in. We meet every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. First week is free. You can tap in, watch last week's review, join this week's episode, see if it's for you, and hear the stories from other self-choosers, man. It's really, really powerful bringing them in person and meeting the CYC self-choosers in person. We're doing a retreat April 21st in Tulum and then October 19th in Greece. So it's time, man. You ready to invest in yourself? You can start with the podcast and the content, which is free. The CYC is $1 a day. The book is $25. And then one-on-one coaching is $200 an hour. The retreat's $2,500. And Greece is $4,000. So we got all levels, whatever you're ready to invest into.
All low though. Like when I've heard other courses and $2,500.
Yeah, right.
You've made it. Yeah. Thank you for number one, walking out authenticity. I think this is a great episode for men because I think, quite frankly, I think we need more authentic men in life. They'll take responsibility for actions. And I think we need to lead. Hakeem, I appreciate you so much. And look, I'm only 8 hours outside. We just came through Yonkers on the way home a few weeks ago. I wouldn't mind continuing on in a person-to-person. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Look forward to seeing you.
Friends at SwagAbility, we believe everyone deserves to thrive where life finds you. Whether you're a caregiver or someone living with a disability, our goal is to help you to get the tools and resources you need to thrive. Until next time, friends, stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and thrive wherever life finds you. Swags out.
Choose yourself.
Choose yourself.